This is the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast. My guest today is Heather Hoover, CEO of Counterculture, Inc. Her story is one of loss, survival, healing, faith, and upholding traditional Christian values. Like and subscribe and never miss an episode. Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Steve, and today I am joined by Heather Hoover, who is the CEO of Counterculture. She's also the co-host of Unfiltered and Unfazed, the podcast she's going to be on today to share her testimony. We're going to talk about how we can both spread awareness for mental health. And Heather is actually the first female guest I've had since I rebranded this show. So Heather, thank you so much for coming on today. It's an honor and it's a pleasure to sit down with you and talk to you.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. It's definitely an honor as well.
Awesome. Well, let's kind of start from the beginning. I'd like to kind of start with, where you grew up, what your
hmm
childhood looked like, and then we'll kind of go from there and then kind of get into where you are today and
Yeah,
what you're doing with counterculture.
for sure. So great upbringing. I mean, my mom, speaking of struggles, my mom had me at 17 years old. She was still in high school. Luckily, my grandparents, absolutely incredible people, very supportive. You know, she had that option to not proceed with that pregnancy, and she was like,
Mm,
absolutely not, absolutely not, which I'm grateful for. So, but anyways, so my grandparents were very supportive with that. And, she did a great job. She did a great job. My father was not involved.
okay.
So, interesting enough, like 2 nights ago, I get a friend request from this man.
Wow.
Yeah, so I hadn't known him my whole life, and that
No
was
kidding.
yep, and, I go on Facebook, and he's friend requested me before,
Mm,
and I was, like, 25, and, one day I'm messaging him, and I'm kinda, like, having a hard time in life. I'm a single mom, and I sent him, like, a message like, "How about you make up for the last 25 years of birthdays and Christmases and, help me out?" He deleted me. He
no
deleted
kidding.
me. Yeah, he deleted his own
Wow.
daughter. But you know what? I will say this. My mother, at 18, 19, met my stepfather, and they've been together ever since. They're still together. So
Oh,
I
nice.
cannot say that I did not have an amazing father figure. And as we talk about a lot, God working in mysterious ways, people may look at, wow, your real father didn't want you? That's so awful. But you know what? I hate to say it, that man is struggling greatly to this day. Had my life gone where I didn't have my stepfather, who's absolutely incredible and taught me so much in life, and I had my biological father in my
Mm,
life, I may not be in the situation I'm in now. It could have
right.
been a rough situation. So, very grateful, very blessed in all those aspects. I had a great
hmm
upbringing, great
That's a
childhood.
great perspective too, a good way to look at it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Southern California,
Okay.
Orange
Oh,
County,
wow.
born and
Okay.
raised. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I was there all the way up until about a year and a half ago, and now I'm in
Oh, wow.
Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I know a lot of
So
people from Orange County. I've never been there, but I know a lot.
really?
I have a lot of clients from well, I was telling Tyler before where I live, there's a lot of Californians and a lot of Orange County people moved to Nashville. So,
Yeah. They're going to
yeah.
Texas, Florida, Tennessee.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
they're getting out of California because it is pretty horrendous.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm grateful for having lived there. It's a beautiful, like I said, I was in Orange County,
Mhm.
beautiful, beautiful area. It wasn't always as horrifically priced as it is now. Things have definitely changed, but I mean, I can't complain about that in any way.
Yeah. Yeah. Florida's a great state though. You're in a good
Yeah,
place.
I'm loving it. I
Yeah,
love it.
Florida's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, Florida's awesome. Well, okay, so what was school like? Did you like school? Did you play
I did.
sports?
I
Okay,
did.
nice.
I did.
Nice.
I actually really liked school. I did really well. I guess I kind of always had a competitive nature.
Mm,
I remember in second grade, I got like a -1 on a spelling test, and I was
hmm,
in tears. And that was my own natural like need and urge. My parents were never really full on pressure, like, you need to do perfect, you need to be perfect. I just always have had that inherent nature of wanting to do well, which
okay.
is great for them. I don't think they realize that not all kids are like that, but I loved school. I loved high school. I loved all the way down to elementary school. I still have friends from elementary school.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
What age did your stepdad enter your life? You may have said that earlier and I missed that.
I was 2 and a half. I was a little under 2, I believe.
Okay, okay. So he's been
Yeah.
there almost from the
Oh,
beginning
yeah.
then. Okay.
Yes.
Nice,
In
nice.
fact, I hate calling him my stepdad, but just
Yeah,
for
yeah.
context purposes, he is my father, so
Right, that makes sense. Did
yeah.
you, so when you were in school and you did really well, did you kinda have college in your sights, or did you have a certain career that you were kinda looking at
Ugh.
getting into?
I was that Southern California girl that wanted to go to cosmetology school,
Oh,
and
okay,
my
okay.
dad, I will say as supportive as he is, he was like, "Ugh, that's what you're gonna do with how smart you are. You're gonna
Yeah,
do
yeah,
hair? Like,
yeah,
what are
yeah.
you doing?" And I was
That's
like, "But
funny.
that's cool and fun," and
Yeah.
I went to cosmetology school. Here's where things get a little squirrely. So, um, I was loving it, doing good, and one of my friends said, "Let's go to this different school. This school's like, I don't really like the dean," and I said, "Okay." Mind you, when I was going to this school, I had, it was an ROP class, so it was paid for, okay, through high school.
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
didn't know, and by not speaking to my parents and doing things that I thought I was allowed to be making decisions, because at this point, I'm now 18. I say, "Okay, let's drop out of this school, go to this school." They're like, we go talk to the school and they're like, "So it's like $13,000 to go here." And I was like, "Oh, you can't just transfer schools?" So things got a little weird there, and my parents were livid, but
I bet.
then with that same person, we ended up moving out into our own apartment. It was me, my boyfriend, and her. 18-year-old moves out with their boyfriend and their best friend. It was about 3 months before I was pregnant.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, at 18.
Yeah.
So, you can imagine my mom's like, "I was a young mom. What the frig are you
Right,
doing?"
right, right, yeah.
So
Yeah.
but again, they were supportive.
Okay.
Um, th you know, again, in these situations, people give you those options of,
Mhm,
"Well, you don't have to continue with this." And I was
mhm.
like, personally, I do. That's my
Yeah,
belief.
right.
But so I had my son at 19 years old, and his dad stepped up, which is also uncommon at that age.
Mhm.
We got our
Very
own
uncommon.
place. He worked 2 jobs. I was a stay-at-home mom. So we did our thing
Okay,
for until he was about 6 years old.
okay. Did you eventually go back to hair school and get into that, or did
No, I
you
did not.
kinda Okay,
No, I did
okay,
not. Yeah.
gotcha.
I never
Okay.
went back to it. I kind of decided as I got older, it's not really something I wanted to do.
Mhm.
I thought it was, but I was like, "This is not like a passion of mine." I just it looked glitzy and glammy and fun, and
Yeah.
it just not something I was interested in going back to.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so you're a young single mom. Well, not single mom, but you've got a, boyfriend and
Yep.
you're a young
Yep.
mom, so,
Yep.
let's go from there, like, so where does
Yeah.
life go from that point?
So then, because I think when people do have children young, you don't get to experience life in certain ways. Like, even though we did the whole like jump into getting our own place and
Mhm.
playing that adult role, being parents, you still don't get to experience certain things. And by the time he was 6, I think that started coming into our relationship where we were like, man, we really never got to like have fun or really do
Yeah.
anything. And it put a strain on our relationship. We started, getting really just there was a drift, and it
Mm.
just I didn't feel like, and again, being with somebody at 18 years old, 17 years old, it may not be the person you think you're in love, but
Yeah,
it may
right.
not be. So, we decided to end that relationship,
Okay.
and it went pretty downhill for me from there.
Okay.
I
Okay.
will say.
Gotcha.
The
Okay.
grass is not always greener. I mean,
Right,
had it
right.
brought me to where I am today? Yes, but again, that's one of those things, God works in mysterious ways. I had to go
Mhm.
through many years of failed toxic
Mm.
relationships, abuse, physically, mentally, emotionally. Um, it I I think when that relationship ended, I turned towards a certain type of man, and I think that that type of man, I don't believe that anybody that goes through, like, domestic abuse or anything like that is their fault. Because some people say, "Well, you attract what, you know, you're
Mm,
going through, or you needed to heal, so you attract these toxic bad men." And I think there was a certain attraction to, the type of men that I was, I guess, going for,
okay,
that they all typically ended up having some kind of issues, whether that,
okay,
we don't know why those things happen, but
right,
I guess it had to happen, and they were all exactly the same. I mean, exactly the same.
yeah.
So, which I find interesting. I'd like to dive into that one day as to why that happens and how that happens.
Well, so
S
let me ask you real quick because you mentioned, God works in mysterious ways. Where at this point in your life, you're a young mom and you've kind of put your career on
Yeah,
hold, and then you decide it's not something you want to do. Was I don't know the best way to word this. Where was your faith at this point, or was God in was
no.
he a key role in your life? Okay, okay,
No, when I say that, I mean where I'm at today. But no,
okay.
at that point, I was raised not very religious. My grandmother, Italian, was
Hmm.
Catholic. I'd say me and her probably went to church like twice together.
Okay.
Not a big, we had a crucifix in the house, but I wouldn't say it was definitely based around that in any way.
Hmm.
My mom, not at all, not at
Okay.
all.
Okay.
My dad, again, my stepdad, but my
Hmm.
dad, he was raised very strict, in religion. I'm not sure exactly what it was. They were in, back east, Puerto Rican, but it was so strong that he had a negative outlook on it because it was like borderline abusive.
Okay.
So, if you know what I mean, like that
Yep.
really strict, like they used to have to
Hmm.
kneel on rice if they did anything wrong, like,
Wow.
and
Okay.
that's what, God wanted.
Mm.
So I was not raised with that at all,
Okay.
at
Okay.
all.
Just curious. Yeah, just
Yeah,
curious.
which I think would have helped things, and I truly believe that had I been raised, in a house centered on Christ, I believe that, and again, maybe that's how it had to happen, and what brought me to him so close now,
Hmm.
um, because my co-host of my podcast, she was raised in like a church family, youth pastors. They took her in because her mom, unfortunately, is in active addiction still to this day.
Okay.
But she has a different outlook. It is more toxic. She's like, I believe that the church, she has some issues with the church, not with religion, well, with religion, not with Jesus,
Religion.
but
Right. Right.
they're two different things that people sometimes don't
Hmm.
understand. I actually just saw something talking about the church is money driven and churches are this, and it's like, well, that has nothing to do with Jesus at the end of the day. It's a
Right.
building, it's a building. Luckily, we have an awesome church that I'm so grateful to be part of,
Nice.
but that's not always the case. So,
Well, and I think too, and we've talked about this before we decided to do this episode. I mean, I think a lot of us, myself included, have had unique experiences growing up and with religion, and then we find Christ because we go through these
yeah,
trials and we realize. And I'm going to go ahead and say this: I really think you cannot have mental health without Christ in your life because you're never going
100%.
to really have that just that hope and that peace. You can work on yourself, you can do things, but at the end of the day, if you don't have Christ there, we're not in control. God's in control. And I know that's a hard thing for a lot of people to realize or even want to acknowledge. But I think both of us, I was like a co-host. I grew up in the church, but then I experienced church hurt and
Yeah.
decided I'm going to do this on my own. And then I have my own
Mhm.
story. But I think that's the people that really have the maybe the best or really solid relationship with Jesus didn't maybe have the upbringing where he was put at the forefront because they had to go
Yep.
through stuff to realize, hey,
Yep.
he's there for me no matter what. And
Yeah.
that's what I want people to understand, even from this episode as we're talking. Christ loves you no matter whether
Yep.
you know him or you love him, he still loves you. He's
Yes.
always there. So
I
where
agree.
awesome, yeah. So okay, you ended that relationship and you're still out in Orange County.
Yep.
Where's life taking you at this point?
So, I get into another relationship that's a nightmare.
Okay.
that ends eventually, which put me into, this person had just gotten out of the military, was, like bouncing at a bar. Like, I wouldn't
Mm,
say he was, full of success at that point. Got another place, and that put us into a lot of debt. A lot of debt accrued with that situation. So now
okay.
that relationship ends, and now I find myself as a single mom with nothing, in fact, debt. So I end up really in a situation where I'm renting a room from a friend with my child. And at that time I was still making the best of it. I was like, we have a roof over our head. And now people may say, well, where's your family? Where's your
Mhm.
parents? As I love them to death, and I am grateful for the fact that they are not the type that are going to, I don't want to say they would ever let me be homeless, but they're kind of like, figure it out. Like, you got
Yeah.
yourself in this mess, figure it out, which I think
Mhm.
did help me um be able to figure it out,
Mhm.
you know. So I did that for a while, a couple relationships in between. And then I met my youngest son's dad. And now
Okay.
I'm in Huntington Beach, California, living by the beach. You would think I'm living the dream, but I
Yeah.
meet him. And, my son now, my oldest son is probably 7 or 8. This was, I believe,
Mm.
in 2016. And
Okay.
so, um, I meet him, and, you know, here's the thing, there's red flags. There's red flags, and I'm still choosing to ignore them. I think I'm matured. I think I've figured
Mhm.
it out at this point. I'm still ignoring them. We're both into bodybuilding, so that's what like brought us together. I was
Okay.
super into the gym at that point. He was bodybuilding. He wasn't competing yet, but he was, definitely that was our passion that
Okay.
brought us together. Um, and when the red flags came, it's like you're already in, and
Mhm.
it was toxic, and we were off and on, and we ended up still moving in together. And I would say, within 2 years, at this point we had broken up and gotten back together like 5 times.
Okay.
And then I get pregnant with my
Oh,
youngest
okay.
son,
Okay.
thinking, okay, this is it, this will fix everything. That's
Mhm.
not why it happened, it wasn't planned, but you really think this will fix everything. Now this person, he here's the biggest red flag, okay? You're gonna be like, "What are you telling me right now?" He was a Luciferian.
No way.
Swear, okay.
Wow. We gotta get into that. We gotta get
So
into that.
okay, so here's where it gets really weird. I am in that much denial.
Wow.
Now, I will be honest, it frightened me.
Okay, yeah. I'm
There was
sure.
something in me, and at this time, I'm not like a practicing Christian or anything. There's something in me
Mhm.
that was like, that does scare me, but
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to just be like, "No, like, it's not that big of a deal." But he
Wow.
was to the point where, um, he had a satanic Bible.
Really?
Yes,
Mm.
yes.
Good thing we prayed
He
before this.
Oh, no, trust hold on, let me tell you something. I have done an immense amount of protection prayers, soul tie prayers. I've had my pastor friends, they anointed our house that I lived in
Yeah.
with him. I've been
Okay.
anointed. I'm telling you, I have
Yeah.
don't you worry. Don't you
Well, I'm
worry.
gonna let me say this real
But
fast. I don't want to interrupt you because I'm already gonna get crap because I've got I like skulls and people it's like
oh,
oh you can't read the Bible with skulls, but so go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you, but
so I
we're
mean,
gonna
this
get
man,
blowback.
oh,
So
trust me. D
yeah.
You're a Christian, and so well, here's the thing, right? The
Uh
enemy
huh.
is going to come because he knows that there was something strong in me. He knows that there's something strong in my
Oh
heart.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
let's just calm down, everybody, because they come after the people that are going to be the strongest in
Mm-hmm.
the army of Christ. So
Right.
I mean, he had a big goat tattoo on his stomach.
No
Okay.
way. Wow.
I'm telling
Huh.
you, like, dedicated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it does get interesting when coming to that. So I wouldn't say there was any, at least in front of me, any like ritualistic
Mm-hmm.
stuff, or things that I witnessed like that. Because again, I wasn't into it, but I just
Yeah.
kind of let it happen. I was not
Right.
partaking in that. Nor did I want to. and that's just kind of where it was. He was into that type of music,
Be
like that.
specific. What
Uh,
band?
um, oh my gosh, they wear like the white makeup and th-
Ghost? Ghost
Ghost.
DC?
Ghost was one
Yeah.
of them.
I knew you yeah.
And then there was another one that it started with a B. I know
The,
I'm awful. I can't remember it.
uh, Behemoth.
Yes, Behemoth
Yeah,
was a
I
big
know
one.
them. Yeah, I know them.
Behemoth, and, bands like that. There's probably some
Mhm.
underground ones that I don't really know about, but
Yeah.
that was really strong in the beginning. He was really
Okay.
into that. I mean, he would thank, like, Lucifer for me and things like that.
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
like, he'd
Huh.
post me on Instagram and be like, "Thank Lucifer for her," and this and that, and I would be like, it was one of those things where I wasn't comfortable with it, but I also
Yeah.
didn't really know how to. His ex-wife even told me, who's a strong Christian now,
Huh.
she kinda just let it happen. It's really odd. You kinda let something so scary happen,
Yeah.
and I wasn't strong in faith, so, I mean, now I don't even watch scary movies, okay? Because
Right,
I'm like,
right.
"That's a demonic portal, and that's all
So,
demonic," so
I have a question because this is
yes.
where I know some about the topic we're on right now, but I have a question. They call him I don't understand why they still call him Lucifer because Lucifer was an angel, and when he fell, he became Satan. So why do they still call him Lucifer?
No
Because
clue. I don't
he
think
lost that name.
I
He's
don't
not
think any of
Lucifer
it makes
anymore.
sense. Well, then
No, no.
they also and then they'll worship Baphomet, and so
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't think they know. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not
Right.
saying all of
They
them,
they just
but
made it up.
I think here's my honest opinion, and again, it may ruffle some feathers for people that do believe that. I don't know why they'd watch yours podcast, but again, the enemy does watch things that
That goes
they
both
want to.
ways.
Yeah. So I think that they're lost people and that
Yeah,
they
definitely.
are looking for acceptance and they are looking for non-judgment, and that's
Yeah.
where they feel comfortable.
Mhm.
Instead of turning to Christ, that's where they turn.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I do believe that. I believe that because a lot of times, obviously, the people that are doing these types of behaviors are, it's not like a lot of them have porn addictions. A lot
Mhm.
of them are engaging in risky behaviors and self sabotage and self destruction. Their mental health isn't the best, but they're like, no, 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 this is helping me. This
Mhm.
is because, they say again, this is enlightenment. This is awareness. They feel
Yeah.
like he used that word a lot. Eyes open
Okay.
to everything. Um, So, it wasn't like the basis of our relationship. It's not all
Mhm.
he talked about, but it was there
Okay.
and it
That's
was bizarre to say the least. Um,
yeah.
so I got pregnant. That started to calm down a little bit. So
Okay.
I don't know if he was trying to turn away from it. It was
Okay.
just really something we didn't talk about.
Okay.
Um, I got pregnant again thinking that things would get better. They actually didn't. They may have gotten worse at some periods. He was very like it got really much better.
Mhm.
So I guess that's manipulation, It gets
Mm.
better and then it gets worse.
Yeah.
And when it gets worse, it starts to get to physical abuse, to mental
Mhm.
abuse. Unfortunately after death, we'll get to that. But he never sought out help from like professionals or things like that. He sought out help from steroids,
Mhm.
tattoos, um, other people that are engaging this type of behavior, women, um, all the above of self-destructive,
Okay.
self-sabotaging behavior, I believe.
Okay.
Um, so, you know, it definitely didn't get better.
Well, and I'll throw this out real fast. From my understanding, a lot of the core belief with that type of whatever you want to call it, religious practice is self before others.
Absolutely.
Do
Oh,
you think that was the key why he did all
yes.
that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of these, the, you're, it's an interesting story because a lot of these like mindset coaches that are out there, right? It's
Mhm.
their statement is purpose before pleasure,
Mhm.
where those beliefs are pleasure before purpose, but they think that
Mm.
pleasure gives them purpose.
Got you.
Because, They're that important and grandiose that they deserve that pleasure. They
Okay.
deserve to do what they want, which is a wild mindset, and it's not going to bring you anything good.
It's yeah, it's living by the flesh. I mean,
Mhm.
you're gonna crash and burn at some point.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're going through that. It's up and down. People are starting to notice, friends and family are starting to notice, like, kind of like, Heather, you deserve better. Like, what are you
Mhm.
doing? And I go, no, he's changed. No, it's
Mm.
going to be better. No, and we go on with that for a while. Some of the nitty gritty details are just, they're not really important. I mean, mental, physical, and I wasn't perfect. I got toxic too. Um, obviously we did protect our children from it for the most part. It's the best you can do is at least keep your children out of that.
Mhm.
But there was times they'd see it, especially when he was doing certain steroids.
Okay.
That uncontrollable anger and behavior was not able to be hidden even in front of the children.
Okay.
So, that's where I'm like, this is wild. So there was a point where we actually split for a year.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, a whole year, did our own things. I'm talking like other relationships,
Mhm.
lived our life. And so what happens? I'm doing great. I am like fit, living life. My job's going well. My kids are great. Everybody's happy. Who wants to get back together?
Mm.
Okay. I say
Okay.
no. I say no. I stay strong in it. Um, and again, back to faith. I believe if I had a stronger faith and stronger relationship with the Lord, I could
Mhm.
have that. You're not powerful enough by yourself. That's
No.
that's the thing.
No.
Just point blank.
Mhm.
So I let it happen. It wasn't easy and it wasn't just like, sure, come on in, but I said, you need to show me the work, you need to show me the change.
Mhm.
Um, which he did at first, with again, he became a mindset fitness coach
Oh, really? Okay.
himself.
Okay.
He was really following all the mindset fitness coaches, some big names that are in the media now, but they're sitting on YouTube and they're telling you be there for your people, get up in the morning, work out, do what
Mhm.
you need to do, don't do these behaviors even though they're doing them. But
Right. Right.
so he was up at 4 a.m. reading, journaling. Now, with all that being said, he still has not found Christ, but
Mm.
he's doing all these other things.
Mhm.
So he's running every morning. He's kind of just showing change in that aspect.
Mhm.
Um, and that lasted for a while.
Okay.
Even the way he was treating me, that lasted for a while. But again, he did not finish and complete that last step. He wasn't talking about Satan or anything anymore, but he did not complete that last step with finding Christ. Now, we will also get into that of how I became angry with God.
Okay.
So now that's where we're at. Life's
Okay.
going better, life's going good. And then I start seeing the behaviors coming back.
Mm.
The fresh that he was one of those like, I'm gonna text you 40 paragraphs about how awful you are because you said the wrong thing this morning.
Mm.
And just really nasty stuff. And again, I don't want this to be a bash session on him, but it leads up to
Right.
obviously his mental health was struggling because somebody doing that to somebody else is struggling themselves.
Right.
And it took me a
Right.
long time to understand that it wasn't my fault. And
Mhm.
that, man, if I would have just unloaded the dishwasher before he went to work, he wouldn't be this pissed off.
Mhm.
Um, so then it started getting better again. And
Okay.
and then it started getting really bad.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
So you guys took a break and then he kind of comes back into the fold. When you guys kind of took a break and you were away from that, lack of better words, darkness, you don't
Yep.
have that energy around. Were you kind of seeking God at all, or were you thinking
No,
about
not
him
yet.
since okay, okay. So
Nope.
then when you got back together, and he's not talking about what he used to be into, where was God in the picture at all then
Nope.
for you? Okay.
Not for
Okay.
me yet.
Okay, gotcha.
But I wasn't like anti, I guess you could say. I wasn't
Mhm.
like, it just wasn't in the forefront.
Mhm.
I I would tell myself I believed in God, and I don't know what that meant at the time.
Mhm.
Or I would try to say, "I believe there's a higher power." I would
Okay.
cover it up with that jazz, which
Yeah.
or, the universe and
Mhm.
energy and all that nonsense, which did nothing for me.
Yeah.
I told myself it did. I was like, "No, but energy, and if
Mhm.
you manifest,
I knew
and
you were
if
gonna
you
say
do"
that.
right? We all have to go through it. We
Yeah.
have to. It's just
Mhm.
complete ridiculousness. Um, so that went on, and I thought that that was, giving me what I needed.
Mhm.
Um, and then it started getting really, really bad.
Okay.
Just completely unhinged behavior, leaving the house, disappearing for days at a time.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I believe there was infidelities that I haven't been able to prove, but
Mm.
that type of thing, physically abusive, really strange behavior. Like he eventually, and we'll get to the nitty-gritty where all of a sudden he was mad one morning. It was like 7 a.m. and he was just having a day, getting ready to leave for work. And he texts me and goes, "I just quit my job."
Hmm.
And I was like, "What? You just quit your
Yeah.
job?" He just got this job paying great
Huh.
money, awesome job, and he quit his job. And, had I looked back in hindsight, when we speak about mental health, when people start doing things like quitting jobs, cutting people off,
Mhm.
getting rid of things, it's something you need to notice.
Yeah.
It's definitely something you need to notice. This was extremely impulsive. Nothing happened with his work. He was pissed off and he said, "I quit my job. F this world, F
Mm.
this life." And I'm still thinking, like, he's going to text his boss tomorrow and be like, "I'm sorry, man. I was having a day." And
Yeah. Yeah.
that didn't happen. That
Huh.
just didn't happen. Um, so he goes, "Well, now I'm gonna focus on my mindset and personal training."
Okay.
Okay, and so I'm still thinking, okay, so he has a direction. He wants to focus on his passion. I still think it
Mhm.
was impulsive and crazy to do,
Mhm.
and I wasn't happy about it, but I was like, "Okay, if he can make that work," because he had clients and was making
Yeah.
money doing it, okay, we'll go from there. And that was definitely the beginning to the end. How I said that 4 a.m. wake up,
Mhm.
that drive, now there was days where he was sleeping till 8 o'clock p.m.
Oh, wow.
and he's just, "I'm tired. I'm just tired. I've worked my whole life and now I'm finally able to not do that." And I was still like, okay.
Wow.
Um, and again, this comes into where I hope that people are aware of these types of behaviors where you're thinking, "Okay, maybe they're just kinda going through it," but it's like, there are signs and there are, what they call stages to
Mhm.
depression, and what happens is, stage 1 might be, just being more distant, quiet, and then as each stage progresses, things like quitting a job is a r impulsively like that is a
Mhm.
really raise for concern.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
then his mom and him super close. I mean, close, like close. He actually, she kind of upset him because she was like, she mentioned his behavior and he was like, "Then you're done. You're out of my life." Cut his
Wow.
mother off. I'm
No
talking
kidding.
blocked her
Wow.
from everything that you could be contacted by. Also, another huge red flag. Now he's starting to cut people off that are important to him.
Mhm.
Okay, again, hindsight, I knew this was bad and this was weird behavior, but I didn't know how serious these things were. So this is all within like a couple months span. So job's gone, mom's gone, doesn't talk to his dad hardly at all anyways. Um, cut his dad off completely. Hardly talking to his ex-wife who has a daughter with him who was my
Mm.
stepdaughter at the time.
Mhm.
I considered her my stepdaughter, innocent little girl, 6 years old. I was with her for 8 years.
Wow.
Um, still a part of her life, and she's an awesome, awesome kid.
Nice.
But, started, she noticed he's kind of being weird with me. He's just not talking to me as much, communicating about our daughter. We had her too. They had split custody.
Okay.
Um, Now his daughter is starting to notice change in behavior too. And me and her start kind of bonding over that. Like, she's like, Dad, I just don't like the way he's acting. He's snapping at everybody. He was becoming forgetful. Also an
Mm,
interesting symptom of depression. He was becoming forgetful and defensive. I'm talking like, for example, one morning we couldn't find the remote to the TV. Okay. And we were like, where's the remote? And he's like, I don't know. I was sitting on the couch. So we're looking for it. And we end up finding it under the couch where he was sitting. And we were like, kind of laughing about it. Me and his daughter were like, oh my gosh, it was right there all along. That set him over the edge to the point he flipped the couch over, left
no
the
kidding.
house, like enraged. He was like, why are you guys laughing at me? And I was like, what is this? So there's like signs where there's somebody that something really internally is struggling
Mhm.
with someone. And we kind of just laughed it off and we're like, that was weird. Um, and things started getting worse. This, like I said, this was a bodybuilder that cared about his health, even though he put horrible things in his body, came home with a 6-pack one day. And I was like, I have seen this man drink like twice in 8 years.
Hmm.
So now he's drinking beers. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I still am like, okay. Like, you still make excuses for these things. Maybe he's just really needs to take the edge off.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and he's mad about everything at all times, always 24/7 mad. Then he started disappearing for longer periods of time. He started threatening to do drugs, specifically like methamphetamine. I know
Hmm.
nothing about that world and that life. Even though all the stuff I've gone through, that's one thing that I just was too scared of, to be
Mhm.
honest. I never touched any drugs. Um, and so I was terrified with that. And then he started threatening to kill himself.
Okay.
Then that came and he says, well, why don't I just go, you know, take my pistol? I don't know what we can say on here.
You're the expert. I don't know because you got more
You know,
experience in this
I
world.
I
So
do, and I still don't 100% know
so
how far.
yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, technically they want you to say unalive yourself. I mean, you
That's what
have
I
to be
thought. Yeah. That's
so
what I thought. Yeah.
so then he started threatening to unalive himself with
Mhm.
a firearm.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Um and of course that was scary and I was like,
Mhm.
did the whole you have children to think about, your family loves you, your family cares about you, don't do this. And he had done that before and he had done that throughout his like adolescence where he says things like that because I remember friends telling me that. So what happens is it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. You're like,
Yeah.
he's using it as like a manipulation tactic.
Right. Right.
Um so then he started doing it more often. It was like once or twice a week he would say that.
Okay.
Meanwhile, he does have access to a firearm and carries one on him. So, that's another stage that I learned throughout research about this topic and through therapy that, um, if somebody starts threatening that they are going to do something and tell you how, and they have the means to do that, now you really got to examine this.
Mhm.
So I started telling people. I started reaching out to people. I reached out to some of his friends. I told his mom, even though they weren't talking, I said straight up, I think he's suicidal.
Mm.
Um, I think they were just in as much denial as myself, where they're like, no, he would have done that by now, or
Mm.
no, you think really, I mean, I literally got you really think he would do something like that? And I was like, I don't know, but somebody help me. This is too much for me.
Mhm.
And at that point, he had made the threats like, if you call the cops, I'm going to get in a firefight with him.
Mm.
So I go, I don't know who to call. I don't know where to turn. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Um, then what happens? Go ahead.
Were you scared for your own safety at this point?
Yes. So there was an element of fear for
Mm.
myself.
Mhm.
He may be just at the point of no return, fear for myself and my children.
Yeah.
But, deep down inside, he did love his children. And I can't say that I believed in my heart that he would ever hurt them in that way. Now, me, that's a different story. So I kind of treaded lightly at that time, at that
Okay.
point. Um, but obviously I had my concerns. And then it's like a Sunday, we go grocery shopping. And I said, let me try to just show a little bit of compassion. And I was like, everything's going to be fine. It's going to work out. If we have to eat ramen, we'll eat ramen and this and that while you're building your business. And that was, unfortunately, that's not something I felt in my heart. That was something I was trying to help him mentally just cope with everything. And this is on a Sunday. So we go to the store and it was like this peaceful, no arguing type of situation. So, which I've also learned in the stages that they call it, it's kind of like the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
It's really important for people to know because a lot of times before anyone considers unaliving themselves, they have one of the best days of their life because they know what they're
Mm.
going to do and they feel at peace with not having
Oh,
to deal with
wow.
their struggles anymore.
Okay. I've never heard that before. Okay.
Yes, it's very common. It's actually quite normal.
Hmm.
They actually have like a really good day. A lot of people go, they were laughing yesterday.
Mm.
Dude, we had the best day. We were with family. Um, and so a lot of times that's what happens.
Mm.
So that's what happened. And then Monday came and we're back to chaos, major
Mm.
chaos. There was threats to do something like that again. Tuesday comes, I go to work. My youngest and his dad are at home. I start getting flooded with texts. I'm overwhelmed right now. There's a lot going on, and I'm working, and I'm like, hey, I'm at work. What's going on? And he's just like, I don't know. Nothing ever works out. And I was like, what's going on? Couldn't give me any specifics. Um, Mom instinct in me felt something was off. And my boss was at an appointment. She came to the office and I go, I gotta go. And she was like, what? And I bolted out of there. And I was like, I need to go pick up my son. And I still to this day don't know why I felt that so strongly. Um, but as we know,
I know
I
why you did.
believe I believe that mother intuition and God were like, get there
Yep.
immediately. So
Yeah.
I do. And at this point, it's like 10 o'clock, 10:30 a.m. Um,
Mhm.
he's still in bed. He's awake,
Wow.
but he's still in bed. My son is sitting next to him um, on a towel because his diaper was leaking.
Mm.
Now, mind you, this is not normal. He would never do that. And my son's sitting there, and I'll never forget it, is eating like chips or something. And I was like, have you fed him? And he's like, no, he like went and got himself a snack. So already now I'm shaking inside because I know that
Mhm.
something's severely wrong. Again, I had no training. I don't know anything about this. I don't know what to do from this point on. So I said, well, I'm going to take him back with me to work. Luckily, I had the option to do that. I
Okay.
brought my son to work all the time. I managed an office and he was raised there.
Okay.
So I did look at him and I say, man, I think you need to get a grip. You need to get some help. We need to go a different direction with this. And I
Mhm.
kind of gave him a little bit of tough love, not anything really major, but I was like, this is not good. And he just sat there staring straight ahead.
Hmm.
So, he started kind of saying, well, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Um, Pacing around the house. I'm noticing behavior that is scaring me, but nothing really crazy. He's not yelling. He's not doing anything major.
Mhm.
So, he's acting weird though. I will say that. He's acting weird. And again, I know that he carries a firearm on him. I didn't know if he had it on him. And now he's telling me that he wants to go grab another firearm because he wants to sell it.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay. Now in my head, I'm thinking, I'm in danger.
Yeah.
I'm in danger. Long story short, there's parts I don't even remember. It wasn't a fight, it wasn't a blowout. It was weird. It was a weird interaction of back and forth, like, what's wrong with you? I don't know. Nothing's wrong with me. I just want to be loved. I just hate
Mhm.
this world. Like, and I'm just sitting there like, okay. Like, I don't know what to do with all of that. I'm just like,
Yeah.
everything's fine, but you're scaring me. So he said, I'm going to go for a walk, yada, yada. He leaves the house, goes for a walk, throws some money on the bed. So this is important because he throws some money on the bed, throws his keys on the bed, and goes, I don't need that right now. You can just take the money or whatever. So again, I'm shaking at this point because I'm like, he's unhinged. Like, I think he's in some kind
Mhm.
of psychosis. He takes off for a walk. I said, Logan, we need to go. I get my son and say, put your shoes on. Let's go outside. Put your shoes on. I think that if we leave this situation, this is better at this point. Let him
Mhm.
go walk. Cool. He did that often. He needed to go
Okay.
for a walk and cool off. So that
Mhm.
wasn't abnormal. All the time he would go walk and just like recenter himself. And so he took off. We're outside getting ready to go. He's putting his shoes on. He has one shoe on. I look in front of me and there he is. He came back.
Mhm.
And I will tell you, he had an emptiness in his eyes that was not right.
Mm.
It was not right. And so he's just standing there looking at me and he's addressing my son and kind of like, you know, and this I had to take a long time to be able to tell people because it sounds very much like it's my fault, which I've learned it's not. But he would tell my son, your mom doesn't want me here. Your
Mm.
mom doesn't want me around. Your mom doesn't want me to be here for you. And I was just like, okay. Like, I'm not sitting there going like, no, I do. Because at this point I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, you got some
Yeah.
issues. But I was just like, why are you saying that? Like, I remember looking at him being like, why are you saying that, dude? Like, our neighbor's door is like right there. Like, kind of weird shit are you saying?
Mhm.
Um, and Logan's like, so the last thing my son says is, I love you, daddy. Okay.
Mhm.
So then he turns around, takes 2 steps, and right there in front of our house takes his life with the
Mm.
firearm he had in his pocket.
Wow.
So here's the thing is when people say, what could have I done to stop this? Right.
Mhm.
There is a little boy that just said, I love you, daddy.
Man.
That did not stop him.
Yeah.
So I do want people out there to know that are feeling like it's their fault if somebody wasn't able to be saved and they weren't able to stop them, that it's not. It is not their fault. No matter how much people say you should reach out to your friends, you should help them, there is an element where there needs to be some responsibility, as harsh as that sounds, on the
Mhm.
person that does this because it's not fair to put it on everyone else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where we need to lean into Christ. We need to get mental help. We need
Mhm.
to be responsible for ourselves. And if you're incapable of doing that, then you can ask for help from people, but you ultimately have to be responsible for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point to make. I had a guest on a couple weeks ago, Nick O'Kelly, and he talked about this. And he even said, he was in a state of mind where he wanted to unalive himself. And he said, you make that
Hmm.
effort yourself. And so
Yes.
ultimately, you're right. The responsibility is on the individual, not the spouse or the children or the friends or the family. It's the individual that makes
Yep.
that conscious decision. High, drunk, sober, that's their decision to do it.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm
So
glad you brought that up. Yeah.
yeah, because well, it's a hard conversation. That's a
It
hard
is. It
conversation to have
is.
because it feels like you're now somebody was so down and out that they took their own life and you're telling them, well, they should be accountable for that, right? Which sounds horrifying. But at the end of the day, I think that where we've lost some focus is if people felt a little bit more accountable for that, like what I'm about to do is something that is going to also affect so many people and my pain is not going to just go away, it's going to just push it off on them rather
Mhm.
than I just want my pain to stop. I'm done, nobody cares about me, I'm leaving.
Right.
And it sounds harsh, and again, some people might, something my therapist taught me was, I don't she said this straight up, I don't care if you told him go unalive yourself, that's still his choice. And I
Right.
thought, how could that be? Like, if he's in a mental state and I say that, how would that not be my fault? And she goes, at the end of the day, if somebody tells you like the old saying with like your kids, if somebody tells you, or somebody jumps off a bridge or somebody tells you to do this, are you going to do it? And it's like, well, no, I guess I wouldn't.
Mhm.
You have to want to do that.
Yeah.
Somebody's not going to do that because you told them to do that.
Right.
To be clear, I didn't tell them to do that, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
but so, now we're in a scene of chaos.
Mm.
Obviously I just witnessed what I witnessed. My son witnessed what he witnessed.
Poor
I have to,
son, man.
yeah, I have to run to the scene, assess the situation. I see that there's nothing that can be done, you know?
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting there and I go, I just ran away from my 3.5-year-old and left him standing by himself. And I go, leave him here, get to my son. That's the choice I had to make. So
Mhm.
I look over at my son and he's holding his blankie and he's literally screaming, "Daddy."
Oh, man.
So I have to go into what we call, as people with PTSD or people that have experienced trauma that comes where you're not prepared for it, you go into shock.
Yeah.
I never understood what shock was until I was in shock. Now, we're talking anybody who's experienced shock, you are able to not cry, you are able to not scream. I did scream. Mind you, my screams got 31 911 calls called because
Mm.
of my screams when this first happened, because it was nobody's prepared for that.
Yeah.
Um, I run to my son, I pick him up, I grab him, and all I say to him is, "It's gonna be okay." And I say it just like that, almost like stern. I was like, "It's
Mhm.
gonna be okay." And I like grab him. At this point, neighbors are outside. I
Yeah.
grab him and I literally have a neighbor just put her arms out like this and is like, "Give me him. He
Mm.
can't be out here." And all she
No,
and
no.
I go, I hand him over to her and she doesn't even, we don't even have like dialogue. I just know she
Yeah.
knows what to do. She takes him into her house. All the other neighbors go in there and they're with him. And, he goes, "Mommy, they gave me goldfish. We watched SpongeBob." Like they
Mm.
did exactly what they needed to do at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm out there dealing with, I'm being interrogated.
I'm
They have
sure.
to do a full
Yeah.
interrogation because it wasn't cut and dry until, there is cameras. We had a Ring camera. Other people unfortunately have cameras, which they assured me they were going to delete the footage because, family members didn't want that footage out there.
No, no.
They have, so there's a full investigation. This wasn't like I found him. This was I was there. So they had
Yeah.
to investigate me like I could have done this.
Right.
It was pretty quickly determined that it was self-inflicted, um, I don't know how they do it, but they do. Um, and people are showing up, friends are showing up, and again, I sat there for 4 hours just sitting on the stairs until they came and got the body. What I would consider shock. There was a point where time slowed down and the ambulance came and the paramedics came and they go and assess the situation also, and they walked right in front of me, pretty as you please, with an empty gurney. So I go, "Well, they're not working on him, they're not." I mean, I knew at that point, but I was like, "Is anybody
Yeah.
gonna say this to me?" Like,
Right.
is
Right.
someone just gonna straight up be like, "It's over?" Um,
Yeah.
and I think obviously the tarp being laid on him was probably a good indication that it was over. And again, you still need to hear it. So I think my
Yeah.
confirmation was, the deputy coroner walking up to me and going, "Hi, this is my name. Here's what's going to happen." And I was like, still like, "Okay, what?" And 30 minutes ago, I was on my way going to my office. Like, I don't know what's
Did
happening right now.
anybody come up and, like, comfort you at all on the
So,
scene? Did
yes.
anybody
So,
Okay.
bless their hearts. I made the first responders sound really callous because I said that the EMTs just kind of walked by me, but that's they walked
Yeah.
by and had to go on to their next call or, do what they needed
Yeah.
to do. But there was a female deputy who absolutely was a treasure. I still to this day am just so grateful for her. She was comforting. She was telling me that because they went through my phone. They even went through my phone and
Mm.
telling me, which I was fine with. I mean, obviously, I don't think I had to let that happen, but I did. I had nothing. They said, "You were so supportive. They said they were like, he was in psychosis because I didn't even see all the paragraphs of text he sent me.
Mm.
Um, and then she
Okay.
turns to me and she goes, "Did he do steroids?" And she said the specific steroid that he did. She goes, "Did he do this?" And it starts with a T and ends with an REN. I don't know that we can say that on the line, but we can spell it. That
Yeah,
being
I'm sure you
very
can.
yeah. So she goes, "Did he do tren?" And I was like, "Yeah." Going like, "Does she know something I don't know?" And she goes, "I could tell A by the way he looks." And she goes, "And B, you'll be surprised how much we see this." So I really strongly
Mm,
urge anybody
really?
who is out there that wants to partake in that because it will get you big. Okay. That is not the most important thing in life. I promise you that. Especially people that are struggling with mental health. A lot of times it exasperates
Yeah.
things that are already underlying. And what happens is you think if I
Mhm,
get big, because he'd always say, like, if I have this truck, if I get big, if I have the most tattoos, I'll be happy. He would literally say that. I'll be
mhm,
happy. Then I can be happy. One of his
mm,
goals was like reaching a certain weight. Then I'll be happy if I do this, this, and
yeah,
this. So a lot of times people that are struggling with mental health, instead of trying to find things to fill those voids, which would be we both know what's going to fill that void, um, which is Christ. So
mhm.
they're finding all these other things to do that with, and it doesn't work. So anyways, then it's just chaos after that. They did call the crisis intervention specialists that come and they're there
Okay,
to really try to comfort you. Like that's all their job is. You're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Hugging me, just talking to you. That's really what they're there for. And two of them came and they stayed all the way. They stayed till the evening. They were in my house. Like they stay. They
mm,
immediately give you a folder of resources, therapists,
okay,
crisis intervention people, things like that. So, I mean, you get the gist of the scene. Families starting to show up. People are starting to hear this. I think when we talked before, I said my mom got the phone call from a friend and said,
oh, yeah,
I,
'cause she didn't know if you were
it's
okay,
not that
that they
I'm
didn't
anti.
explain
A
that,
lot of
right?
people know his name, and it's not that I'm anti saying his name, but it's for protection for his family. But they were like, he shot himself, and again, the whole drive there, she was thinking my daughter's dead. My daughter is dead, 100% dead, which was trauma for her. So we
Yeah,
have lots of layers of trauma. There's neighbors that came outside and unfortunately saw things and are traumatized. They're screaming, they're crying, they're like about to pass out.
mhm,
Like there's chaos. I'm sitting there in shock, so I'm calm. And that's where the weird
mm,
part comes in. It makes you seem callous or cold, but I'm at that point, I'm sitting there like chilling because I'm in complete
mhm,
shock. At one point, I think I asked a deputy, I was like, I mean, this sounds really bizarre, but I said, "Am I alive?" And she goes,
mm,
"What?" And I go, "Am I over there with him? Did he take me out?"
mm,
And I'm having like an out of body because you feel numb when you go into shock. Like you don't
yeah,
feel right. You don't feel like you're there. Um, so then here's where it gets interesting. Not that it hasn't been, and please do stop me if I ramble. But
no, you're
sometimes
good, you're good,
sometimes when I'm able to talk about it and I feel okay, but sometimes when you talk about like a trauma, you can just
yeah,
spitfire. It's spitfire. It comes out because you just have to lay it
no,
out.
and I
Um,
think real quick, I think there was, like, a little glitch, but I wasn't asking about his name, I think you had told me
no,
before that
no, I was
you
about to
didn't.
say it myself.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
okay,
you
because there was a
didn't.
little bit of a glitch, so okay,
No, no,
okay,
no, no.
alright,
I know you
okay,
didn't. I was saying
okay,
because I was about to say, well, when
okay,
and again, it's just for protection,
okay.
for his family.
Yeah, totally,
A
totally.
lot of people know his
Yeah,
name. It's
totally.
really not that big of a deal. But um, I'm sitting on the stairs, still in the same spot. At this point, the sun is beating on my
Mhm.
head. I'm burning. Like I ended up getting a sunburn. Like I am paralyzed in this spot. The police are like, please go sit down, go get a drink of water. Can we please move you upstairs?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm literally not moving. I refuse to move under any circumstance. And I don't know why. I was just frozen in that spot.
Mhm.
So I look over to my left and there's a gentleman walking up and he's just slowly walking up very calmly. His hands in his pocket. Like that's how much I remember that moment. And he just smiled at me and he said, I I'm a neighbor a couple buildings down. I saw and heard what happened. Um, please, if you need me, here's my card." Which I'm like, "How weird is that?" And so I grab his card
Mm.
and I put it in my pocket and I don't really think about it. And then later I look, the next morning when I was having a full-blown panic attack because everything was setting in as to what happened, I pull his card out and it says, Pastor Mike I can never say his last name.
Mm.
So I call him Pastor Mike. And I go, "Oh, it's a pastor. Interesting. That's why he was just some random guy was giving me his card."
Yeah.
And I called him. Now, mind you, at that point, I had called the crisis line and they didn't answer.
Oh
They
my
didn't
god.
answer because it was like 7 o'clock
Really?
in the morning. So please, nobody get discouraged if these lines don't answer. Keep
Wow.
calling or call a different one. But
Yeah.
because I thought, wow, if somebody's in crisis and they're calling and not getting an answer, we need to change that as a society for
Man.
sure. So I called Pastor
No
Mike
kidding.
and
Yeah.
he didn't answer right away, but then he called me right back. And man, he talked to me for hours. I don't even know him. He doesn't know me, but he
Mm.
talked to me for hours. Um, and really helped me. And he's, specialized in that. He's got licensing. He specializes in trauma recovery, addiction recovery, all sorts of stuff. He himself has recovered from that through Christ. He was, essentially a criminal, addicted to drugs, selling
Mm.
drugs, and has recovered from all of that. And shares
Okay.
that with people, shares the gospel, shares his testimony, and helps people every day. Um, so at that time, I still was not centered around Christ. Um,
Okay.
in fact, I had a slight anger towards it. I was like, how
Mm.
could this God let a child go through something like this? How could this happen? How could, you know, and Pastor Mike never really was like, what do you want to call it? Pushy, but he would
Mm.
preach the gospel. He would say, scripture. He would tell me things and I'd be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense, but whatever.
Yeah.
Um, And it took a while because at that point I was just really confused about things. I blamed myself. I had to go through, EMDR, which,
Mm.
we could talk about. EMDR is basically like a rapid eye movement desensitization therapy where it helps you process literally from one side of your brain to the other side of the brain for traumas that are replaying in your brain, like a PTSD type thing.
Mhm.
I think that should be offered to all veterans and first responders. It's not. It's very expensive. It's very hard to find. I think that would help a lot of people. And
Yeah.
it helped me tremendously, because I had flashbacks. Every now and then I still have one, not as
Mm.
bad. And when people say flashbacks, it's not that I hear a loud bang and I go, "Oh my gosh." Like, what happens is any moment of any day, all of a sudden in my brain, I can see, I mean, if we wanna be raw, I can see brain matter, I can see skull,
Wow.
I can see
Wow.
mass amounts of blood. I can see
Wow.
literally specific things that I'm like, "I
Yeah.
don't want to be seeing this right now. Why am
Mhm.
I seeing this right now?"
Mm.
Like, what triggered that? Um,
Yeah.
EMDR helped with that. It still happens, but you learn to cope with it and you learn to make it not feel like you're in that moment and that you can just kind of move forward from that moment. So, you know, I went for a while being resistant towards any kind of, I guess if you want to call it religion, or
Mhm.
I think I remember even posting something like, "So you're telling me if we had Jesus, this wouldn't have happened?" And
Mm.
I was being this like, and then I started doing the universe and energy thing. Well, I know there's a higher power. So that was me starting to transition. And
Yeah.
I was like, I know there's this and I know there's something. Um, and then, when you get filled with the Holy Spirit and, you have an encounter with Jesus Christ, it's not the same for everybody. And it's not always that you asked because I've seen some testimonies, they say, Jesus, if you're real, show me, come to
Mhm.
me, help me, save me. I didn't ask, it just happened.
Hmm.
And I'm not even kidding you. And, my husband, he he was kind of like starting in his journey to Christianity. And I still like, even with him talking about it, I was still like, well, I don't know. But one day I was like standing outside and I was like, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, the universe, manifestation, energy, all of that is God. I was
Yeah.
like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And I had like a literal moment of revelation where I was like, this is the missing piece. This is the missing piece of life. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't have like a vision. It wasn't like that. And it's, again, my pastor talks about it all the time. It's different for everybody. It doesn't mean that you have, the clouds open up but you have a moment of realization. And then from there on out, everything changes.
How long from the actual incident, I don't know how else to put that in a way that won't get flagged,
Right.
with your, son's dad, did you hit that faith point when you kinda realized God is everything? Like, how long do you think, uh, that was when
I'd
that
say give
happened?
or take like 9 months.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it was longer than you would think.
Mhm.
But again, I had to battle that confusion and anger of, why am I going through this? I have a GoFundMe. Like, how embarrassing. I have a GoFundMe to help me pay bills. Because at the
Yeah,
time luckily I had a great job and I was able to support myself eventually. But when you're not prepared to lose an entire income,
right.
that can hit you. Uh, and by the way, he drained all the savings. So,
Oh, man.
um, yeah. So I didn't have that. Now that cash that he threw on the bed, I remember saving that money. It was like $700. And I
Mhm.
remember saving that money and I would give it to the kids for certain
Yeah.
things. But, that sign of him throwing that money on the bed was, that to me was him being like, I'm not going to need this.
Well,
I'm
I
not going
think
to
n
need this money.
I think 9 months is pretty quick considering what you
It could,
guys
yeah,
had in your
that's a
home,
good
and then
perspective. Yeah.
I I think that's pretty fast,
Yeah.
in my opinion, but
No, you're right. You're right. And,
especially
and
going through that, I mean,
And
a
I may
situation
I
like that.
like I said, give or take, some of that time frame, that whole year is a little foggy,
Mm,
and they call it like it's a real thing. It's called selective amnesia.
I'm sure,
When you're
yeah.
not in a line of work or even the military where that you might see some crazy stuff,
Mhm,
and something happens very abruptly, it's a
mhm.
different kind of effect on the brain, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
um, where your brain was not prepared at all to see something kind of
No,
wild.
no.
So, some of it's foggy, but yeah, I'd say give or take it. I guess you're right.
Okay.
That's a good way to look at it. And at the grand scheme of things, it was pretty fast. Um, and but again, I was lukewarm. I call it
Mhm,
lukewarm Christian. I was like, okay, it's God. God is here. So I
mhm.
wouldn't say that was my moment of being saved. It was my moment of understanding that God is everything.
Yeah,
But to
yeah,
me, I wasn't saved yet. I didn't
right.
give my life to Christ. I didn't, you know, any opportunity I get that, even in our church, if they say, if you want to give your heart to the Lord, stand up and say this prayer, I do it. I reaffirm
Mhm,
that every time. I don't think it's just a one time thing. I think for the rest of your life, you reaffirm, I am giving my life. I am giving
mhm,
my heart. Some people think it's like, well, I did it once and that's it, right? Like, we're good.
mhm.
I do it every
W
single time.
It's
Every
just
single
like mental
time.
health, you gotta constantly be
Y-
in that
The gym.
stage.
The
Yeah,
gym.
totally,
You know
totally.
fitness, I know fitness. I gained 80 pounds after this happened because I
Mm,
was mad at the gym. I was
mm,
mad at life. I
mhm.
mean, I went from working out all the time to like literally sitting in my house, like couldn't go to the grocery store.
Yeah. Well, that's
And
understandable, though. I mean, I get
yeah,
that.
totally. But I gained, had I looked back, I said I probably would have fought for myself a little harder as far as working out and being back in the gym because that added a whole other element. Now I'm like 80 pounds heavier, uncomfortable,
Mhm.
unhealthy. I've lost just about 80 of it. So I have, a ways to go because I was not where I wanted to be at that time anyways. But so that adds another element of, well, now I got to get my health on track on top of all
Yeah.
this, mentally and physically. So my advice to people is give yourself some grace.
Mhm.
I do, because I got that a lot. Give yourself grace, give yourself grace. But I wish somebody would have said, but it's okay to move forward. It's okay to start taking care of yourself, because the
Mhm.
give yourself grace can turn into a little too much grace. And now you're stuck in in the trenches.
Mhm.
Now it's time to be okay with being happy. Be okay with moving on with your life. Be okay with laughing and smiling and, you know, having any kind of happiness in your life. Some people that go through something, they're like, well, I guess now I'm just have to be depressed for the rest of my life to show that I cared about this situation. You
Right.
don't. You don't. You don't. If I could help anybody with that, is that you don't need to do that. If you've gone through trauma of any kind, you can have a happy life, and it's okay to do that. And it's okay to move forward, and it's okay for your kids to be happy. Um, a lot of times people feel like, especially in a unaliving situation, that if you're happy, then that means it doesn't matter that that happened.
Mm.
And that's just not accurate. It's not accurate.
How's your little boy? How's
So
he doing?
I got him in therapy right away. As we talked about, there's two ways you can go when you go. There's two directions you can go in a trauma. You can fight it head on, which some
Mhm.
people might not have the bandwidth to do, and I understand that. But my competitive nature, my survival skills in all the things that I've experienced in life was like, you need to hit this head on.
Yeah.
So we both got into therapy. He got into trauma therapy. He is truly a remarkable human being. Um, he went through a little stint of what they called like ODD, oppositional defiance disorder,
Okay.
for a very small period of time, which what that means is he would scream and cry. I'm talking on the floor out of
Mm.
nowhere, and just scream and cry and say, I hate you, go away, shut up, like things that he is the sweetest little boy. So it shocked people and shocked me. And it would last for about 30 minutes. And I hit that head on with therapy. They told me what to do.
Okay.
I did it. They said, this is what you need to do to fix this. And I was like, I'm doing it. At that point, Tyler was in our life, and he was like, whatever you need, I'm here. I'll help you with this, whatever we need to do. And it has never happened again. In fact, he is thriving. He is doing great in school.
Good.
He just got picked and recommended as being gifted. He's being tested for
Nice.
being in the gifted program, to be more challenged. He is
Nice.
very kind, very loving, very sweet. I do attribute that a lot to myself and what I did in the early stages, and then a lot to my husband. As Tyler, he stepped up as his dad
Mhm.
100%. Um, and Logan is so smart that he comprehends things. And,
Mm.
it could be going through the trauma so young, but he goes, I have a daddy in heaven, and I have a
Mhm.
daddy here. And,
Very good.
he looks at him as his father 100%.
How how old's your son now?
He's 6.
Okay, I have a 7-year-old, so okay, yeah,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So he's 6 years old, and he does, I mean, he, like I said, he's loving, he's caring. He
yeah,
remembers too. So I get that
okay,
question a lot. Did a 3.5-year-old, does a 3.5-year-old remember? Now, because, whether it's because he's gifted or what, his
mhm,
therapist said he is exceptional in a lot of areas, and he remembers.
mm,
He remembers to the point where, like I said, he remembers what snacks he was given in that lady's house.
wow,
He
yeah,
remembers what he was watching. He remembers what he said to me when I walked in the house, and he said to me, this is pretty heavy, and I'll say it in a careful way. But I walked
mhm,
into her house after they took his body away and everything, and I said, well, I need to go get my baby. I walked in, and he goes, Mommy, he goes, you got to tell daddy, don't do this to his face again. You got to tell him not to do that.
Wow.
He says, Daddy did that, and you should tell him, don't do that again. And I went, I am
Wow.
not equipped to deal with this. I am not
No.
equipped
Oof.
to deal with this.
Yeah.
And, if I can give any advice to anybody whose young children or children lose a parent, is that you have to be real. They told me, every doctor, every therapist said, you cannot say they're sleeping, they're on a
Right.
work trip,
Right.
they're I literally said he's dead. He
Mhm.
died. Now mind you, at the time, faith was not a big thing, but we did say he's in heaven.
Mhm.
Um, and again, depending on where your faith lies, some may not think that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some may not think that. And that's
Right.
something that I don't think is that I need to tell a 3.5-year-old.
Mm-mm. No.
Also,
No.
some may not think that because of his beliefs.
Mhm.
Um, you know, Pastor Mike still blessed his body before he was cremated and did a prayer
Yeah.
over him and blessed his body and did what he could.
Mhm.
Um, you know,
Let's look at it this way too, Heather. Like, I mean, you don't know, we don't no one knows. He could have made peace with Jesus before.
and here's the beautiful thing about that is that's very possible. And like I said, there was a change in talking about those types of things, and he went ahead
Mhm.
and he got blessed tattooed above his
Yeah.
eyebrow. And a lot of people found that interesting and strange because, like, his ex-wife's my best friend now. This brought us very
Oh,
close
wow.
together. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I'm sure.
interesting dynamic, but we're best
Yeah.
friends.
Okay.
But she said, I wonder if that was maybe him trying to make peace with some things. And
Mhm.
we'll never know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's just, with Logan, that's where we say he is.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're doing the right thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
definitely. Hey, I want to say this real quick in case I forget. You're a very strong woman, and I really
Thank
admire
you.
just having the courage to come and talk about this stuff, especially with the impact that it had, not only on yourself and your family,
Yeah.
but for Logan. I mean,
I
that
appreciate
just
that.
yeah, no, I admire that because I know it's a lot. It's a lot to
It's a
talk
lot.
about, and you've been through hell. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
imagine what that's like. Especially your son. I mean, I admire him
Yeah.
too. To be
Oh,
so
he's
courageous at 6 years old.
he's
That's
stronger than I
amazing.
am, I'm telling you, and he has given me, like, such strength, and I see that, and I'm like, "Whoa, man, this little kid has already been through so much." And
Yeah.
one thing that we've learned through it is that, yeah, it's okay to say, "You know what? I was a victim." But it's
Hmm.
not okay to stay, like we talked about, it's not okay to stay in that mentality because you
Right.
have to drive forward. The
Yep.
shirt that I designed the shirt, Driven by Pain.
Hmm.
Um, it really stands for that. I mean, Jesus went through pain. He
Hmm.
bled, he sacrificed himself and bled for our sins. So it's like, if we can't keep driving through the pain
Hmm.
and letting the pain drive us, who are we?
Yeah.
Like, are you
Yeah.
serious? Let that drive you. Let that push you to keep going. And of course, give him praise, give him
Hmm.
gratitude. And that's something I had to learn even through the hardest of times. You still praise.
Hmm.
You still praise and you still show gratitude for
Yep.
his sacrifices,
Yep.
which can be hard. It is hard.
It is
It is
hard.
hard
Yeah.
sometimes. Our church talks about it. They're like, there's
Yep.
going to be times you're struggling financially, you're struggling
Hmm.
mentally, your mom just died, like all sorts of things are happening, and you're being told to praise our
Yeah.
Lord.
You
They're like, we
you want to hear
get it.
something wild?
What?
So I use that little Bible app, the verse of the day. I wrote this out.
Same.
I'm gonna read it because what you're saying,
I bet.
and it's almost verbatim.
Bet.
And I was gonna read this scripture in our episode, but I didn't know it would come
Do
like
you
out
use
like
Bible
this.
chat, or what
No,
do
I
you use?
use what is it called?
There's
Hang
a lot
on.
of good ones.
Yeah,
I have one that has verse of the day too. Let's see what
it's
my verse of the day is, because what if it's the same?
it should be. What is this called? I don't know what it's called. It's just got the Bible and it's a real popular one. Why does it not saying the name on it? Uh,
That's
I
all
don't know.
right.
Vision. You
Oh,
Vision.
okay.
Have you heard of that?
I haven't.
Um, Okay. It's like a free, Bible app, but I use it for the, like, I do my morning routine and stuff, but I'm gonna read this real quick. Today's
Yes,
verse of the day
please.
was Colossians chapter 4, verse 2. Never stop praying. Be ready for anything by praying and being thankful. How wild is it that what you just
Amen.
said goes
Mhm.
right along with that? That's
Yep.
pretty, I'm
Yep.
trying to do that more of that, like adding scripture into episodes. And
Absolutely.
that's right there. So what you that you just said that before I read that scripture. That's pretty
Yep.
wild. God works in mysterious
He
ways. It's
does.
pretty
I
wild.
mean, you could be I I do the thing where you open the Bible sometimes
Yeah.
at night and
Yeah.
just boom,
Where's
and
it at?
sometimes
Yeah.
it's like, "Whoa, that's exactly what I needed to hear right now." My
Yeah.
verse of the day is, "And above all things have." See, sometimes these words, man, they throw me for a loop. Fervent,
Hmm.
I think that's right. Love
Yeah.
for
It
one
is.
another, for love will cover for love will cover a multitude of sins. And
Hmm.
that's 1 Peter 4:8. So it's
Nice.
like at the end of the day, right? Love
Yeah.
will conquer.
Yeah.
And I think people don't realize what that means, but it really does. One of my favorites is I faith over fear, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
It's that's one of the hardest things for people to do. And that was the hardest thing for me to do, was to give that surrender, to give that control up of, I'm giving this to you. I'm giving my
Yeah.
heart and my life to you. And that's something that people struggle with, because they're like, well, no, I'm in control.
Right.
I
Right.
got this. I got this. And it's like, that's a good mindset to have. Sure, you got this, but not without him. You can
Hmm.
have this with him. It's okay. It's okay to still be a strong person, but
Yeah.
it's not weak to surrender.
You have to surrender.
It's not weak. It's actually really strong
Yeah.
to surrender. You're
Yeah.
more that takes more strength than anyone can imagine.
Definitely. Definitely. I agree. And I know I had a pastor tell me that the one thing God just can't stand is pride. So you have to surrender to be able to have a
Yep.
relationship with Christ. You
Yep.
have to do it.
Pride is a killer.
Yep, it ruins families. That's why I'm on the
Yep.
other end of this talking to you today.
Right. Oh
Because I
god.
had so much pride. I mean, I'm not trying to be a downer, but that's
Well,
that's
pride,
ultimately
what comes with pride?
the fall.
Ego. Ego.
Yeah, ego. Yeah.
Ego.
Yeah.
Ego will
Yeah.
take down
Mhm.
lust, ego,
Yep.
pride will take down the strongest of men. We've seen it in the Bible. It
Yep.
happens. It will take them down, and it will humble them real, real, real fast.
Yes, it will.
And
Yes,
that
it
can go for
will.
women too.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that is a huge one. And that's not to say, we've talked about that in my podcast. That's not to say you can't feel confidence or proud of yourself. That's
Right.
not to say
Right.
you can't be, grateful for things that you've accomplished. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, pride and ego, you need to be humble and show humility.
Mhm.
That's, again, that's in the Bible. Humility is saying, I have all of this because of you. That's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Period. End of discussion.
Yep. Well, and my girlfriend's favorite verse, Shelly, her favorite verse is Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous. And you are living that. You're
Thank
strong and
you.
you're courageous. I mean, especially coming and sharing something so personal, so raw, and just
Yeah.
such a traumatic event to come on and share that. And I
Yeah.
admire that. And thank you for trusting me enough to come on
Thank
and
you
share
for
that.
allowing me to do that. So
Yeah, yeah, of course.
if I could leave anybody with anything, it's that, especially with your podcast, having a little bit of focus on like the whole aspect of mental health, where it's not
Hmm.
just mental, physical, Christ, like trying to incorporate all of those things, but really the main um center is Christ, and then
Hmm.
you can do things physically and mentally along with that. I talked about mindset coaching. I think mindset coaching, therapy, all of those things should be tools. They should not be what you rely on, because if you
Hmm.
don't rely on Christ, but you rely on medication, I'm not saying those things can't be utilized as
Yeah,
tools,
right.
but if they are what you rely on and you don't get to the root cause and you don't center everything around Christ, you will struggle more than you need to.
Hmm.
If you have an option to not struggle as much as you don't need to, then don't.
Hmm.
Don't. That's it. That's a simple answer. That's a simple solution to your problem.
You'll never find peace without Jesus.
No,
You'll never find it.
no. You'll always
You'll
be
never find it.
searching for
Yep.
the missing
Mhm.
void that you have. And a lot of times you will search in wrong places. I mean, even if you search in a positive place and you become
Mhm.
just so involved in work or whatever, you have to have that missing piece. It's
Mhm.
it's it's non-negotiable. People call it non-negotiables. That's a
Yeah,
non-negotiable.
I agree 100%. Well, let's tell us a little bit about counterculture, your podcast. Like, how can people find you online and learn more about you?
So, my podcast is on the Counterculture Network. So, the
Okay.
Counterculture Network has in-house podcasts plus several other podcasts that are under the network, but they're their own podcasts. Mine is an in-house podcast, Unfiltered and Unfazed. It's the only female podcast that is on there. So here I am breaking more first female barriers. But the whole point of it is that we actually consider ourselves the anti-feminist feminists,
Mm.
because modern day feminism has is directly placed by the enemy to destroy the nuclear family, to
Mhm.
destroy um, women empowering themselves by doing things like OF and certain things like that. We feel that feminism is not what the whole point of it was. It was just for women to have some rights and things that they can do. But at the end of the day, um, we believe that modern day feminism is out there to destroy families,
Mhm.
to weaken women when they think that they're empowering them, to weaken men. We think the anti men movement is ludicrous. Men are
Mhm.
vital members of society and crucial parts of society. And we need both. We need men and women, and they should be able to understand their roles and it not be called um, toxic masculinity. You know, men should be. I believe men should be respected. And I think that, I have very old school traditional values. Um, and I don't think that women taking care of their children is oppression. I don't think any of that. If you don't want to
Mhm.
do that, that's fine. Do
Yeah.
you? That's
Do you?
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the people that do want to do that, that's okay too.
Mhm.
So that's what our podcast. We talk about conspiracies. We talk about
Okay.
all sorts of stuff. Current events, things like that,
Okay.
the
Nice.
darkness behind certain industries,
Mm.
what it's like. I was married to a first responder, a police officer. So, and when I say was, I'm still married to him, but he's retired now. So,
Right, right, right. Yeah. Don't
not that
give
I'm
him any
not,
more
I know.
ammunition. Don't start any rumors.
They're like, oh my
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
Steve,
you got enough going on. Don't add any
telling
more.
you, telling
Yeah.
you.
Don't add any
Um,
more.
And then the clothing company, Counterculture Inc. Threads.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of shirts. It's like the whole outsider apparel.
Mhm.
It's kind of like you know, like this one, Driven by Pain. We have a lot of stuff that is kind of speaks to you
Mhm.
and can give you that little boost that you need. Sometimes, like I said, if somebody's wearing this shirt, I want them to be like, whether it's in the gym, whether it's in life,
Yeah.
just like, man, no matter what I'm going through, it's going to drive me and I'm going to be driven by it and we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I kind of wish that I would have put Through Christ under it. I'm not going to lie. There's like a
You
little
can
part of me that wishes I kind of put that
yeah.
now that I'm looking at it and talking about it. But that's
Make a
okay.
new
It's
line.
what we
Make a
know.
new
I know. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Nice. Very cool. And what about like on social media? How can people find you and learn more about you like on Instagram and Facebook and that stuff?
So I have so my Facebook is more of like a family
Mhm.
um allowed to be on there type thing, but my
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Instagram is Heather at Unfiltered and Unfazed.
Okay.
And uh, uh no, what is my Instagram?
I can hang on, I'll pull it up.
Heather. Who knows their Instagram handle?
Well, I just used the podcast name for mine. Hang on. Let me pull yours up.
But do you know
It's
it? Like, do you know how you actually
yeah,
have it
it's just
written out?
Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast. Yeah. Yeah. It's Heather Unfiltered Unfazed CC.
CC. See,
So yeah. Hang on. Well, I'll see if I can. I don't know if people can see it. I'll put it up to the
I don't
camera.
even know my own
It's probably a
Instagram. Isn't
glare on
that
it, but no, it's all good. I know
well,
your
I have
husband.
several. I have several, right?
Yeah.
I have several. So
Yeah, I
the
know.
other one
Yeah.
is Unfiltered and Unfazed CC.
Okay.
And you
I
can
meant the
find us there.
podcast. I was talking about your podcast Instagram, but
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
it's all good.
I kind of conjoin them, so that's why I share
Okay.
usually both of them.
Yeah.
But the podcast one is something y'all should check out more than anything, and that one we post shorts and reels and stuff
Hmm.
like that. And then there's a link to our podcast, which is on the like I said on the YouTube of
Yeah.
Counterculture Inc.
Well, and also the counterculture Instagram, that might have been the best way I could have said it. Like, go to
Oh yeah,
counterculture. Yeah, I
yeah,
should have said that,
that'll
but
really just get you to
yeah,
everything.
there you go.
So
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, so I'll put the in the show notes on the episode. I'll put links to your counterculture and
awesome.
your Instagram, and I'm also going to add a crisis intervention line. I'm going to add that in there too.
Yes, yeah,
Just
and
because.
there's a lot of resources out there. Don't get discouraged if you're going through something. And like I said,
Hmm.
somebody doesn't answer. I had therapists not answer. That does not mean there's not people out there that care and that will
Hmm.
help you. Do not let that discourage you from getting help. There is help out there. Reach out to people like me. I can get resources for you. There's people that will be willing, churches will
Hmm.
help you. So please don't use that as a reason to not get help. Also, money wise, I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't afford a therapist." Reach out and get help. People will help you. We'll get it
Hmm.
figured out.
Yeah.
Even the anti-hero podcast the anti-hero broadcast, we will be more than willing to help somebody put out GoFundMe's, donations, something.
Hmm.
Do not reach out to somebody.
Hmm. Yeah. And I'm going to say this real quick too. This is going to piss people off, but I don't care. You and Tyler are very good people, and
Thank
I'm
you.
not going to get into all the nonsense, but I admire you guys, and I'm very grateful for you both for just let's be honest, you coming on my little show. You guys are in a huge network. I appreciate all the support, all the advice, and the encouragement, and most of all, I appreciate your courage, Tyler's courage to come on and share your faith about Christ, because ultimately I feel called by the Lord to spread the gospel, make disciples, and it took me a little bit of kind of figuring out my process where I
Yeah.
wanted to go, and ultimately that's what I want to do, and then tie in the men's mental health awareness. But
Yep.
you coming on today brings a whole new perspective on how women can, maybe understand their husbands or their
Yes.
boyfriends or what we deal with as men. So I'm very grateful for you guys, and I really appreciate you.
And we appreciate that. We're equally grateful for you. And I feel the
Thank you.
same way that, you know, a- as we both believe as being called to share the word and share the gospel is you become easily connected to people. And
Hmm.
somehow we were brought to you and you were brought to
Hmm.
us, and I find that the longer you do this and the harder you work on it, you will start becoming more involved with more people like that, just to get the word out and to share that word. And
Hmm.
it it just completely proves everything. What more
Yeah.
proof do we need, people?
Right. Right.
There's no
Well,
more proof we need.
Well, and it's funny you say that, because the moment I decided to go with spreading the gospel and having enough courage to talk about it, people just kind of started coming in my life to where I could have guests to interview and not
Yes.
have to like use one of those services where you book people. I'm just
Yep.
meeting people organically, and it's amazing. Like
He
it's
provides. He
he
provides
does.
what you
No, he
need.
does. He does.
100%.
And for your viewers that don't know my story, I mean, I did not stay in the church for years. I went back to the Lord. So and that's for another time, another episode. But I'm not Ned Flanders. I don't
Well, I'd
have
love to hear
a
it.
clean
Yeah.
past. Yeah, no, I'll maybe I can come on your show and I'll share it. But
Yeah.
yeah. So I've had an unconventional path back to Christ, but now
Yeah.
I know this is my purpose, is to
Yep.
help other people and to spread the gospel. So
Well,
I'm
praise Jesus. That's
yeah, amen.
God is good.
Amen. Well, I'm gonna say a prayer
Okay.
as we're closing out, or would you like to say it? Would you rather say it?
Um, no. I
I'll say it.
I'm put on the spot, right?
We'll go traditional. I'll do it since I'm the
Oh, you
man.
were
I'll do
is
it.
that not what you normally do? Yes,
Well, no,
you lead.
I
You're
asked the
supposed to
guest.
lead.
I asked the guest at the end of the show, but I'll do it. I'm comfortable doing it. All right, you ready? Here we
Yes.
go. Father, thank you for today. Thank you again for just this opportunity to sit down with Heather and to hear her testimony. Thank you for Jesus just giving her the courage and the strength to share this story with everyone today. And I admire just what she's been through. And I know, Lord, you've been working in Heather. You've been working in her from the beginning. And thank you for leading this episode. Thank you for the love and the hope and the peace that you bring into not only my life, but into Heather's life and her family. Thank you for the friendship with Heather and Tyler. And Lord, I just pray you bless their family, be with them as they continue to go through just daily trials, and be with them. Thank you for the platform to share the gospel and to also share awareness for mental health. Lord, we love you. We're grateful for you, and just bless both of us and forgive us of our sins. It's in your mighty name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone. We're trying to really spread the message of men's mental health and
Yes.
also overall mental health, the gospel of Jesus Christ. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast. We're on YouTube and Spotify, same name on all the social media platforms. Heather, thank you so much for
Thank you
taking
so
time out of your
much.
busy schedule
I
for coming on
appreciate
today.
it.
Yeah,
Of
thank you.
course.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Awesome. I'm gonna pick up one of those shirts when you put just
Yes.
add Christ.
Do it.
Yeah, I'll have to get one, but
I might do a little
should do it.
separate line.
You should. Yeah. Thank you again so much for coming on today.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.